All right. I wanted to share a theory of mine that I've had for a few years, since 2009, just in case anybody else happens to discover it or whatever. And I want to be able to put it out there so that way um, I can say I was the first one or one of the first ones. But my theory is where gravity comes from. And I know there's a lot of theories out there and everything. But mine in particular doesn't reinvent the theory at all. It just changes where it comes from. Um, for instance, scientists can't figure out if, where, if there's a gravitational particle or something. Obviously, we've never found one. So my theory is that the expansion of space-time is what is causing gravity. As space-time pushes into matter, it condenses around a density, and essentially creates the gravity. So instead of gravity pulling objects, it pushes objects towards each other. It doesn't pull, and so one of the uh, so as time and space expands, it actually will condense around an object, and that's what creates the gravity, and that's why there's no gravitational particle. And I this is all kind of in a nutshell. I'm going to make other videos explaining this and demonstrating this. Um, but I'm not a person that can, I'm not in any of these universities or whatever, and it's hard to get this idea out there. And so, essentially, the way that I came across it is trying to figure out what's at the edges of our universe, for instance. And I came to the theory that it's non-existent. Since space cannot expand into more space, it has to be the opposite of space. And so, so just to kind of sum it up really quickly, because I don't want to make long videos. The way I kind of figured it out is if you're, suppose you had like Thanos's glove or something, and you could like just snap your fingers and you could delete existence in front of you, the size of a basketball, for instance. What would you be looking at? What would be the properties of that's in front of you? Would it have properties? Would non-existence actually be something more than just an abstract thought? And so I started thinking, well, it wouldn't be non-existence itself that would have the properties. It would be the existence around it that gives it properties. And so whatever it had to be. So if you try to explain what this was in front of you, it would have to be devoid of time and space. So light wouldn't be able to pass through it. It would only be able to pass around it. And so what you would be looking at is a black object. And because it's a black object, and since light doesn't pass through it, it doesn't give it definition. So it would appear as a flat black disk, no matter which way you looked at it. And the second thing is that it would have to be infinitely dense, because the opposite of space is density. So you would have infinite density of a flat black disk, where you would have light distortion around it because light doesn't pass through it. And you would essentially be describing a black hole. And so I started thinking, well, maybe the black holes don't have any properties to them. It's the time and space around it that give it its properties. So the density of a black hole doesn't have properties itself. It's not pulling anything in. It's the universe around it pushing everything into it. Or it's time and space expanding, trying to expand into it, and it's creating that immense density. And so to where even light doesn't escape. And so that's what kind of moved into my theory about where gravity is coming from. And I'm going to be probably making some more videos about this, but I kind of want to just put this out there just to say that, I've already thought of this before, but I'm slowly trying to figure out ways to demonstrate it. And I have some ideas, but I don't really have the technology for that. But it's something that I would like to explore. But I just want to put that out there for, at least just for this short video, that my theory is that the time and space expansion is what's causing gravity. Time and space expansion is happening at every single point in our universe. It's not happening from a singular point and expanding outwards. It's every little point in space is expanding outwards. And so you'll have time and space around every object, basically helping it make it into a ball, you know. And so the idea of non-existence itself is what is surrounding our universe. It's not space, it's not time, it's non-existence. And scientists have not thought of non-existence in a way that is more than just an abstract thought, but an actual thing. And I know it sounds like a contradiction because a thing, so like non-existence being a thing is kind of like a contradiction, but there's no way to really talk about that and define it unless you bring it into existence to talk about it. So it's really not a contradiction, but I kind of wanted to kind of just put this out there just in case. And I'm probably going to be making more videos about it in depth, but I don't want to make a long video. But yeah, essentially that is my theory.